Maybe at some point you felt a sudden urge to leave your home country and all of its stress and problems that come along with it and never look back, and instead sit down, relax at some nearby beach, or take in the view from some mountains. But then reality sets, and you realize, yep, I was daydreaming again. It can be surprisingly difficult to emigrate to another country. If you do, you would need to do a lot of paperwork, waiting, have a certain income, answer questions like, why do you want to come here? And a lot more. But there are some places where it is certainly a lot easier, and you might have a shot. Welcome to Traveling Cloud, and in this video, we are going to go over the top 10 countries Americans can super easy emigrate to. And make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content like this. So enough talk, let's get into it. Number 10, Panama. Panama is a beautiful country with lots of amazing beaches and sights, and it is home to the iconic Panama Canal, which is, well, you guessed it, a canal that is 50 miles long going across the Isthmus of Panama that connects the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. Panama is a very cheap country to live in, and the cost of living has not gone up much in the last 25 years. The main language here is Spanish, but don't worry because English is also widely used as well. So that's a plus for you. With your American passport, you are allowed to visit Panama without a visa for 428 days. However, if you wish to stay longer, you will need to talk to the immigration authorities. Now keep in mind that immigration policies from countries change almost on a daily basis. So just a heads up that if some information has changed from a few months from now, then just don't go too hard on me. Now with that out of the way, to get residency in Panama, you need a job or deposit $5,000 into a Panamanian bank. Panama also offers retiree visas for those having a minimum pension of $1,000 a month. So if you happen to be on Social Security and not making much, then, well, better luck next time. This visa also gives you the ability to have discounts at places like hotels, movie theaters, restaurants, medication, and healthcare. Keep in mind, there are no 50-50s, so you are going to have to give up U.S. citizenship to become a Panamanian citizen. Number 9, Austria. Now, Austria, unlike Panama, is not cheap and will cost you a pretty penny. Austria is a small country that kind of operates similar to a hipster craft store. Small and awesome to look at, but so expensive you will need to sell 3 organs to afford to live here. However, if money is anything but a problem for you, then let me say Austria offers 10 different types of residence permits. And you want to know the best part? None of them require any sort of inward investment. The bad news? You would need to apply for your residence abroad. But don't worry, because it does not apply to Americans or EU citizens. If you are American, you can simply get a D visa, giving you up to 6 months to live there. Once in Austria, you would need to secure a job and/or a wife, and then apply for an official resident visa. And while you're in Austria, make sure to visit Vienna, Austria's capital and one of Austria's biggest cities. Number 8. Ecuador. Ecuador is a great place to live, from the countryside to the environment, but it is not a place for big cities. Ecuador has great healthcare, low taxes, along with a low violent crime rate overall. I guess the criminals here just would rather take your junk than your life. Well, that's a win-win if you ask me. You are allowed to stay up to 90 days with your passport, and after that you must fill out paperwork. Everyone is required to apply for a temporary residence visa 21 months after getting temporary residence. That is when you can file an application for permanent residence. Once you have done 3 years of permanent residence, you are able to apply for naturalization, which basically just means Ecuador takes you and you are now a citizen of their country. And I forgot to add, you must give up your U.S. citizenship. There is no way to getting around it. That is Ecuadorian law. So long the U.S. Number 7, Paraguay. This South American country with a population of 7 million people is full of wonders and is famous for so many things like ancient architecture to a massive dam. But when we're talking about moving here, well, let me tell you, nothing can be easier than getting residency in Paraguay. Probably thanks to its terminal obscurity, Paraguay's government seems to be desperate to get as many people into this South American nation as possible. To get into Paraguay, there is really only one requirement that must be done, and that is you need to deposit money in a Paraguayan bank. But hold on, I'm not talking about your crumbled up tens in your pocket. No, I'm talking about $6,000/$7,000 range, which is also not a ridiculous amount of money either. Once you've done that, then you are free to call Paraguay home. And if you are, well, better put more money in the bank and get to building your own home, as the country is not the best home-wise and is surrounded by bigger and more developed countries. But hey, at least it's cheap. Number 6, Denmark. Going back to Europe, Denmark. This Nordic country in Northern Europe is one of the highest countries when it comes to cost of living, so you better be cash ready when moving there. U.S. citizens are allowed to get a visa free entry for Denmark for no more than 3 months. Yup, only 3 months. And you have to go back unless you want to apply for citizenship. And in that case, there are different ways to gain citizenship in Denmark, the longest being 9 years. But it's worth the effort. But if you're talking about permanently settling here, you would have to do one of these 3 things: apply as a student, a worker, or a spouse of a Danish citizen. But if none of these options intrigue you, then you have to do another thing called the Golden Investor's Visa. This means if you have invested over 100,000 euros on a company that's in Denmark, you have an even better chance becoming a citizen. Now granted, you still might have to wait 9 years, but this method is known to be the quickest option. Number 5, Canada. Canada is the United States neighbor located right on top of the US. While the US is trying to make immigration to the country as little as possible, Canada has its arms wide open for the world. It has some amazing cities like Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal, and more. It also has some amazing sites like Niagara Falls and tons of national parks and, of course, breathtaking mountains. If you are trying to move to Canada, you would need to have a certain number of skills and education level that Canada is looking for. For those types of people that have those skill sets, Canada offers what's called an express entry, which is a program that allows skilled workers to become permanent residents. To apply, all you need to do is fill out an online form which makes you say stuff like education level, workplaces, and your ability to speak French. After you've done that, you would need to pay 500 Canadian dollars, which is about 390 in US currency. And it's that simple. You're in. But you might be asking, what if you are just uneducated and too lazy to get a job? Well, in that case, you're on your own. Sorry. Number 4, Mexico. The main reason why people move to Mexico is because of the cost of living. But the real reason they stay is because of the beaches, food, and amazing natural regions. Sure, there is always the handful of areas controlled by the cartels, which by all means should be avoided. But if you are looking to save some serious money, then maybe it's worth it. Mexico overall still has an excellent quality of life, low cost of living, and very good healthcare, as well as the best tacos you will ever taste in your life. Mexico allows U.S. citizens a visa-free entry for a total of 180 days for tourism purposes. Now, if you wish to go all gears forward and live here, you would need to apply for a temporary residence visa. This gives you the permission to work, which eventually leads you to a permanent residency, and from that step, you can apply for citizenship. To get this, you also would have had to live in Mexico for 5 years. You would also be given a required test on Mexican history and culture. However, if you happen to be over 60, you are not required to study for the test, but simply answer some questions to let Mexican authorities know you are not insane. As a bonus, as soon as you get residency, Mexico does not prohibit dual citizenship, so you can also stay an American. Number 3. New Zealand. New Zealand is a beautiful country, but you're going to have a pretty penny to live here. Looking at New Zealand from a statistical point of view, they are doing great, but the only flaw is the cost of living here. Their big cities are very expensive, but if you're looking to settle in a more rural area, they aren't as pricey. For US citizens, you may stay and work in New Zealand for some period of time as a permanent resident on a visa called the Skilled Migrant Visa. How do you acquire this, you may ask? Simple. You need to have some sort of skill New Zealand is looking for, and that can range from anything, really. You can also go for an investment visa, where if you invest 3 million New Zealand dollars, no, that was not a typo, you heard me, a total of 3 million New Zealand dollars, which in US currency is a whopping $2.1 million. If you put that amount of money, then you may stay. I mean, if you are putting in that kind of money, they better let you stay. Number 2. Ireland. Ireland is known for its amazing views of both land and sea, often nicknamed the Emerald Isle. Ireland has beautiful cities tucked beside cozy bays and sheer cliffs. You should also come to Ireland if your drink of choice is whiskey, as they have some really good ones over there. Ireland has a lot to offer, from things like a good quality of life, a nice healthcare system, a solid education system, great nature all around, and some very delicious Irish food. Now, acquiring citizenship has its challenges, but it is overall a short amount of wait time. There are different options to gain citizenship. Some include by descent, by marriage, or by the naturalization process. Ireland gives you the chance to become a naturalized citizen by living in the country for 1 year. Now, to gain citizenship, you must live here for a total of 4 years. From what people have heard, getting citizenship here is very easy. As long as you don't do anything bad while you're there, they'll give it to you. And as a plus, Ireland does not require you to get rid of your US citizenship, so you will have both. Before we get to number 1, leave a like on the video and subscribe for more videos like these. Now, let's get to it. Number 1, Sweden. A more popular country on this list, Sweden. We have all heard of it, but is it really that great as they say it is? Well, the stats speak for themselves. Sweden is one of the happiest countries in the world, along with one of the best quality of life. They also have a stable work balance and is overall great. If you have a US passport, you are allowed to stay in Sweden for a total of 90 days, which is nice. But if you plan on working, learning, or starting a business of some sort, you will need to get citizenship for that. The way you apply for citizenship in Sweden is you must have lived in the country for 5 years with no crimes while in the country. So if you manage to live here, then you have a really good shot for citizenship, although it is not 100% guaranteed. Just keep in mind that living in Sweden means putting up with a pretty high cost of living and taxes. Well, let's just say they're on the steep side. If you want the simplest way to gain citizenship in Sweden, or at least having a very good chance, is an investor's visa. It's simple. You invest 100,000 euros or 120,000 US dollars and boom, you're in. Overall, Sweden is one of the best countries on this list because of all the great stats and good things that come out of it. Sure, it's going to cost more than that $5 bill in your pocket, but if you have money, it's all worth it. Which country was your favorite? Would you ever consider moving to one of these places? Let us know in the comments below. Click on one of these videos for more content like this. This has been Traveling Cloud, and see you next time.